We've heard a lot about success and achievement and what we've done. So I think looking back is good. We should look back a little, we should reflect on what we've done, because within that success will be some learning points that maybe quite didn't hit the mark. And in order to prepare us for today's event and to make sure that we're all on the same starting point, I'd just like you to bear with me while we really go back to some basics. It's good to really hear the detail. As it's been mentioned, we've been doing this technology since 2004. And we're good at it. The world knows we're good at it. Kent has an absolutely enviable reputation for delivering assistive technology. You've heard speakers say we don't wander far before somebody comes and speaks to us about Kent and our achievements. So we need to stay ahead of the game. As Anne said, we can fly in the southeast. So let's just reflect a little on what got us there. Some of you will remember the Preventative Technology Grant. This was some money that came out for telecare services from the government. Rather surprisingly, it wasn't ring-fenced, so what you found was that most local boroughs and county councils didn't do much telecare with it. They sort of did other things. Not Kent, we invested that money, but before we invested that money, we invested £1 million in telecare. So this is 2003, 2004. That's a huge sum of money to invest in preventative services. We do use telecare in a preventative way. We use enhanced telecare, which gives us environmental sensors and personal sensors, not just the familiar pendant that you may all be aware of. What this enables us to do is to support a broad range of people at home in their home environment so that they can remain independent and stay at home, which is where most of them want to be. So Kent being Kent raced on with this, and we delivered 1,100 users before we started WSD. And that was only in 6 areas, because at that time our districts and boroughs, we were in different collaborations. So we rolled it out county-wide with WSD. For WSD, we had to find 1,000 more people. And that was very difficult because actually we'd already had 1,100 and we couldn't use those for WSD because they'd felt the benefits of telecare. However, where did we arrive at before WSD? We knew it was another tool in the bag. Look at these figures here. This was a survey that was done. 93% more independent, felt safer. The last one, we know we had some reductions in residential care. The data needs to be worked on, but we know that we've experienced that as an organisation going forward. So that's all great stuff. What's our success? It's important to think about these because these will help inform some of the afternoon discussions. Knowledgeable and experienced staff. All those things there. Everybody tends to forget the infrastructure. Telehealth, telecare, you know, it's frontline staff with the kit delivering services. Fantastic. Doesn't happen if you don't have the infrastructure. So we do need to pay attention going forward how we're going to grow that in a sustainable way. Data. You'll find that's a theme through everything going forward, especially quality. And we all know that. I'm not speaking out of turn here. We also did telehealth. We were completely ahead of the game here. Largest pilot in Europe, 2004. Went through health ethics. Absolutely bona fide evidence was produced. As Alison said, we didn't have a blueprint for that. So that was a real challenge. But do you know what we did? We learned lots of things because we learned out of the 3 different service models that we had. One of them worked really, really well in a specific area. One of them worked and the other one didn't. And that's all valuable. And what's really important is to remember that those 3 different variations are still as important today as they were in 2005 because we've moved on, technology's moved on, systems and service delivery has moved on. So the fact that the GP model didn't work in 2005 doesn't mean that we should put it in the cupboard and forget about it. Because I really think we should get these things out of the cupboard, dust them off, apply our learning and think about them again, because they are opportunities. Telehealth, for those of you who aren't as aware of telehealth, that's just like telecare, it's a tool. You have a hub and peripherals, you're at home, you take your own vital signs and it transfers to a central server where we have all secure access. But it's not 24-hour monitoring. What it does is deliver lots of data, intelligent data, data where a patient is at home, relaxed in their own environment, where you can watch subtle changes and make interventions early. It does all of those things, and indeed, one of the most powerful things is people begin to know their numbers. And what do we need the population to do? We need them to take control. We need them to be self-managing. We're giving them a tool to do that. We had people on the telehealth pilot ringing up the project team in the office to say, Hazel, I'm really sorry, my numbers are really bad this morning. And I know why that is, because yesterday was so sunny and I spent all day gardening. I overdid it. What would have happened traditionally? They might have called an ambulance, or they'd have had the GP out, they'd have interacted with a service. So it's really powerful at doing that. Very subtly, but very powerful. Again, we've got some success criteria, and the themes that you will hear are about finding the right people. One size does not fit all. One technology does not fit all. One technology does not match all different services. So we've got a whole world opening up to us as we go forward in Kent with our expertise to look at new and different technologies and different areas to where we currently use them. It's a really exciting place to be, and we can blaze that trail, and we will blaze that trail, because the passion for technology in Kent is fabulous. So this is what it does, and we need to think about this in terms of our changing service delivery models, our integrated teams. Technology is not an additive. It's just a golden thread that goes through different services. We mustn't think of it as an add-on, otherwise we won't ever get the hearts and minds and the shift in culture that we need to deliver this. I'm just going to let you read some of these. These are from the Kent pilot. Absolutely incredible figures for a sample size of 250 people. Not everyone contributed to the data, so there is room for growth in these figures. We did this at a time when telehealth was unknown. We did this with, as Anne said actually, a lot of the people in the room here, to great success. So if we just think about what we might achieve as this wider collaboration in terms of the population for Kent, whether it's somebody who needs intensive case management or somebody who needs self-management after diagnoses, we can improve these figures and we can make our resources go further in a more meaningful way. So, we have the blueprints. We've developed them. We're still developing them. We've mainstreamed the technologies that we spoke about, standard telecare, telehealth, into the community matron and specialist nurse services. They're very powerful, they work, we know how to do them. We must just get on and do more. We've got all this expertise. Pooling it is going to be the real challenge. How do we pull all that together? And that's spearheaded under our Kent and Medway Technology Strategy Group. We're driving that forward to look at what the vision is for Kent and how we knit it all together and deliver this huge, ambitious programme. As I said before, technology is not the solution. It's part of the solution, and those of us that start off thinking it is the solution are those that are least likely to accept technology and embrace it wholeheartedly. I'd just like to say a little bit about private and family commissioning. I don't want to hop on too far ahead into the future. But there is a huge groundswell. People like myself who may not live near their parents are interested in buying telehealth and telecare to keep a watchful eye, to help them stay safe and independent. I firmly believe that market will start to drive the technology agenda. It will help to deliver different technologies that we don't have now. There are certain sectors that are very poorly supported by the technology agenda, like sensory disabilities, learning disabilities, physical disabilities. There's a huge amount of work to be done, and that's why we're pleased that we're collaborating here with the private sector. But private and family commissioning, that agenda will move whether we move with it or not. And where I see us in the future in Kent very much is having side by side both private and family commissioning models and statutory models. And if we get this really right, we can be encouraging people to move from one to the other seamlessly with their data, using which services they need at that particular time. And most of all, if they're supporting themselves because we've got it right, then of course we'll have less impact or more appropriate impact on our precious resources. So I'll leave you with that thought for the future.